Alright everyone, welcome back to Bad MMA Math and a new segment on this channel that I like to call Everybody Hates, followed by said prick. Now for anyone who watches this channel on a regular basis, will know and understand that hatred and disrespect is kind of right at the center of it.
He's an asshole, sir.
I know that. What's his name?
That is his name, sir. Asshole. Major asshole.
Now that my face is on camera, finally, I'm waiting for the day that my doorbell rings and I answer to find a killer at my door that I recently called a mongoloid or worse, and he, possibly she, it could go either way at this point, rightfully beats the absolute piss out of me. Until that moment comes though, I'm just going to keep doing it. Who are we kidding? Once I'm out of the hospital and back home, I'm just going to keep going. So I figured for episode 1, I needed to pick someone really close to my heart. Or I guess for the purposes of this series, I guess it would be close to my anus. And maybe explore why I dislike this particular person, and if I'm actually being fair in my dislike of them or not. I'm going to do my absolute best to be unbiased here. This is not going to be academic, and this will not be mature.
Yes. What? You don't say. You don't say.
So if you don't like this kind of thing, click on something else of mine.
Thank you, come again.
Now, I had 2 people in mind for this one, but to be honest, I thought that ragging on a woman in the first episode might be the quickest way to stone it in the face before it's even had a chance to breathe. Actually, I've realized that probably might be way too big of a clue. Moving on. A quick disclaimer as well, before I go in here, this is my list and will be a combination of the reasons why I personally don't love this guy, and a few things I've noticed that seem to constantly pop up generally on social media. Shout out on Twitter at BadMMAMath. You can hit me up there anytime. Now there are a few things that I'm going to roll into this one that are an extension of this, but I figure what better place to start than with his insufferable name. Now before you jump on me for being racist or a zealot or whatever, put down the pitchforks. For now anyway. I'm not talking about his Islamic name, obviously. In the UFC, there are so many utterly stupid nicknames that stand out to me, such as
Brian Who Bear Battle.
I mean, I've talked about this guy before, but why? I don't understand this one. Now, as a sidebar, he actually recently changed his name to Brian the Butcher Battle, which somehow is equally as dumb to me. I mean, as I've said before, your name is Battle, and you're a fighter. I mean, come on, fella. Just leave it alone. It's enough. Brian Battle. Another one that really grinds my gears is this one.
Cooking Master Esparza.
You're a professional fighter, you dickhead, not a Sesame Street character. I'm not sure if I can think of another one off the top of my head. There was one I was thinking of earlier. Coochie the Flying Cockroach Alvarez. Actually, I take that one back. That is fire. A quick one anyway. Who do you think actually has the best nickname in the UFC? You know, while we're on the subject. Personally, I'm thinking of ones like MVP, you know, comes across quite natural, goes with his name. Even a Stylebender. Yeah, before he became the cringy little prick he is now, I thought that was kind of fire as well. I mean, it fits in with his personality. It's kind of unique. And yes, before you ask, that gender fluid individual will get my wrath soon enough too.
As we saw, you know, people's reactions on the internet, Rogan almost had a heart attack. Like, Rogan's eyes almost popped out of his head. Like, couldn't even.
I haven't seen many of them yet, but yeah, mine was like, this nigga just dropped me.
Anyway, of all the stupid nicknames there are in this wacky, bizarre sport, nothing is more completely cringy and stupid than...
Belal! Remember the name Muhammad!
What?
Remember the name...
Huh?
Now, if you're only hearing his name for the first time, I can understand the confusion. And this is not a joke. This is a name that he has chosen for himself. I don't know what he was hoping to achieve with this one, but I know what he did achieve.
There he is, Belal Muhammad, Chase Hooper's personal photographer so he can take pics with fans. The second-hand embarrassment is crazy here. Like, you have Belal, like, he takes the picture, he, like, hesitates with the phone as if, like, do you want a picture with me now? The guy's like, nah, it's good. I got the picture with Chase Hooper. I'm good. I don't know who you are.
You know what? Being honest, seeing him stand there awkwardly, holding a fan's camera, it actually kind of makes me feel a little bit sorry for him. No matter what a corny personality vacuum this man is, nobody deserves that kind of treatment. I will say this though, the way he does pull that smug pout with his fingers to his lips, shaking his head, while wearing his sunglasses, indoors again. We all know that only dickheads wear sunglasses indoors, again in such a smug manner, while the decision that he just bored us to tears watching for 25 minutes is being announced is objectively annoying. And I can see why that might rub people up the wrong way.
This question's for Belal. Do you think you could win a street fight by decision?
That's a great question. I'll meet you outside, and then we'll find out.
You and me?
Let's go.
For me though, his name is kind of a little bit annoying because it kind of could only possibly resemble two paths for me in his thinking. Either he's saying, oh, I'm so great, look at me, remember my name, when you're putting the whole audience to sleep. Or he's feeling insecure, he knows he sucks, and he's saying, please, please remember my name. I'll let you decide. Maybe you can shed some light on it in the comments.
Thank you, come again.
For some balance here, while these things are very annoying, and they are, I must admit that alone, they definitely are not enough for the guy to have as much heat as he seems to get. And I don't even know why I'm suggesting it could be. And I definitely do sound irrational for actually disliking this particular thing about him. But it's kind of all the things that I'm going to talk about now, infused in it, that make this so irritating. Alright, now one thing that Belal gets ragged on a lot for is his boring, horrible fight style. And I'll be honest, I kind of disagree with this a little bit. Like, I agree with it more, but I do disagree with it a little bit. Now, where does this moniker of having a boring fight style, a boring fight style that is not fan friendly, actually come from?
I mean, come on. I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you.
Well, having a quick glance at his records, it will throw up a few clues to this mystery. So he has a record of 18-3, which for an MMA record, where the bulk of his fights are in what's seen as the prime MMA organization in the world, is actually kind of impressive on paper. Now, I do have a video coming up where I talk about who is the greatest organization in the world, potentially, but we'll get to that later.
And what do you consider ridiculous?
It's when you kind of have a look under the hood that you kind of see where the problems lay with this guy's record.
Gentlemen, you have my curiosity.
So of his 18 finishes, he has 3 finishes, which is a finishing win percentage of a princely I think it's slightly under 20%. It might be about 18-19%. That is crazy.
Why isn't it possible? It's just not. Why not, you stupid bastard?
I don't know any top contender that gets away with this. Alright, now he does get ragged on a lot for being in close split decisions, which to be honest is kind of taking the hating a little bit too far. I mean, the guy has 1 split decision. I guess some of those UDs might have been close. And I guess you can say something for a guy that dominates 15-20 minutes of fights, right?
You are made of stupid.
Now, in the case of Belal, we have a little problem here, again, when we look deeper still. In almost 3.5 hours of fight time, this guy has not 1, not 5, not 10. He has 0 fucking takedowns. Now, I'm not talking about KOs here. I'm talking about where he punches someone and they, they go down. Like, that's almost impressive in itself. I've had more knockdowns in my life than him. But wait a minute, I hear the one Belal fan say. He probably has 1 or 2. Not people that think he's alright. I mean actual fans. He's not a striker. He's saying he has a grappling heavy style. You know what? You got me. He isn't really a striker. But let me just say, what makes me kind of sick about his approach is because on appearance, he does kind of seem to strike, and sometimes people think that his striking has improved greatly because he seems to be quite aggressive. Then why is this man so mind-numbingly painful to watch?
I don't know!
Well, for the purposes of this video, I went back and I looked at 7 or 8 of his fights again, some of the more recent ones. And what really stands out about this guy is he just stays just far enough out of range not to get clipped, which to be honest is fine. But the issue I have with it is that he's offensively inept most of the time as well. Apart from a few sneaky elbows he gets when he's breaking on the clinch, he just plays it way too safe in there. He's too far away to strike you, and he's too far away for you to strike him. And it just becomes horrible to watch. Now, it is fighting. Being a bitch can keep you from sucking your turkey through a straw one day, which I do understand and somewhat respect. But then he has the nerve to call fighters boring. And let's just see what happens when he actually does try to engage in an actual fight. What takes the cake here though, is when he does tend to get a fighter down, he's just happy to lay and prey on them and see out a decision by not hugging for 15 or 25 minutes. Now again, I do recognize that that's a skill in itself, and I get that objectively, it's very effective. It doesn't mean that I have to like it. Now grappling can be entertaining, as long as you take someone down and you do something with it. Apply some ground and pound, latch a submission. So Belal, he basically can't knock you down, and when he gets you down, he just wants to keep you there and tap at you to go to the judges. I mean, how many times have you heard a fighter threaten somebody with a unanimous decision? This pretty much sums everything up about how he fights, and it's in his own words. I kind of like how Leon's managing to show some of his personality there as well, which is quite funny as well. He looks like a prime Connor sometimes compared to Belal, I swear to God. All I'm saying is, yeah, it's fine to be what you are. Just don't complain when people don't want to see you fight, and other fighters don't want to fight you.
For what? Fair enough.
Like, who would want to? Now, he's not as bad as people say. In a few recent fights, he has shown some glimpses. The Brady fight was good, and the win over a one-armed Gilbert Burns was pretty sweet, I guess. But generally, the man is less exciting or titillating than watching flies fuck. For 3.5 hours of my life, and well, it's 5+ hours now because I have to watch more of it again, I've watched this man hug nuts and beg for the judges, and I'll never get that precious, valuable time on this earth back.
Please, sir, I want some more. What?
Anyway, I can see why the UFC are not scampering to hand over a title fight to this man, and he should stop being delusional and understand it as well. And that brings me right on perfectly to my next point, which is delusion. So this is one I was unsure how to address for obvious reasons, because often when you find yourself having to say, "I'm not racist," it normally means that you might be at the very least treading that line.
We spoke to Naisbit in May. Would you say that you're racist?
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
Look at my dog. He's as black as can be.
Anyway, I do feel like this needs to be addressed because I feel this helped to further alienate fans that were just indifferent to Belal but ended up completely disliking him after all this happened. It's kind of what I refer to as the Tyron Woodley offensive. Now, I will start by saying this first. Does Belal Muhammad deserve a title shot? Despite being boring to watch at times, he has won 9 in 10 fights in a really tough division, so...
All right, I confess. I did it, you hear? And I'm glad. Glad, I tell you!
The man does deserve to fight for a belt. Do I hope he gets to? Nah, I can't really say that. On the one hand, it's just quite funny seeing him get constantly and flagrantly ignored. But on the other hand, part of me just wants to get it over with so that he just shuts up about it. I mean, I wouldn't like it if this was happening to one of the fighters that I really liked, so I shouldn't complain when the boot is on the other foot. I also legitimately think that Edwards is the worst possible style matchup for him, but I'll get into that at the right time. What was really frustrating is that rather look at the reasons why he might be getting overlooked, being boring, being unlikable, not being a draw, old Belal may have taken a slightly different approach. Now again, we do need some fair context here. Do UFC fighters get preferential treatment?
Hell yes.
I mean, Colby Covington went from being hated by Dana White to being loved to probably being hated again. Israel Adesanya seems to like the benefit of a free title rematch, or free, whenever he's in the mood for one. I don't know, maybe he kind of deserves it for being so active, as much as I dislike the prick. The Dagestani fighters like Khabib and Islam have seen the benefits of good matchmaking and scheduling from time to time, and I think that's pretty hard to deny at this point.
This is #1 bullshit.
Point is, if the company thinks you have some kind of value, they tend to give you privileges others aren't privy to. And as demonstrated in the range of different types of fighter I've shown you, this probably has nothing to do with race, color, or religious preference. Probably easy for me to say as a white dude. But at least we've got examples where we have fighters from different demographics, different religions, getting preferential treatment clearly. And it all comes down to the same thing. How much money can you make us? Now, I don't necessarily agree with this. It should be on merit. Rather than just tell you what Belal said though, and did, that was seen as divisive, let's just run it back for those that didn't see it and try and have an objective viewpoint of it.
What do you think the reason is that Dana White is so adamant that he gets the next title shot? Because historically, he always says he doesn't make fights after the fights. Then he's been pretty adamant that Colby's next.
I don't know, man. The only thing that really makes sense is him dropping the case, or he has something on Dana. Maybe he caught him at the palms again or something like that. It's just weird, right?
Now, when I first saw this interview, I thought it was completely ridiculous, and the full thing reveals nothing racist about what he did whatsoever. It was, however, this follow-up tweet that personally made me wonder what the guy's real feelings on the situation were. Now, to clarify, do I think the guy is racist?
Not guilty.
What's the matter with you?
I have a reasonable doubt now.
11 to 1. But what about all the other evidence? What about all that stuff, though?
I really don't. And this is not personally a reason why I dislike this guy. This list is kind of a smattered mix, as I said, of personal reasons why I don't like him and general things I've picked up on, and this one does fall into the latter. The fact is that even a small faux pas like that can be massive in turning droves of the general MMA fanbase away from you. And that seems to be a big reason why a lot of people just hate him now, or at least dislike him.
Move this man!
Now, personally, as I said, I don't think he intended it the way that it was, and it is a little unfair, but that's the world we live in now. And at the very least, it was a completely stupid, idiotic thing to do. It does reveal, though, a little bit about how delusional he is regarding his position in the title picture. As I've alluded to earlier, Belal doesn't understand that there are other important factors at play, making him someone that the UFC isn't actively pushing. You know, the cringy persona, the boring fight style, the crying like a pussy, which I'm going to get to in a minute, the whiny nature. Those are the responsible things. This is why people don't like you. This is why you don't get a title shot. It's just shitty personality, mate. If he thinks he's being passed up because of the color of his skin or religious beliefs, then I think he needs to look more inward. personally, this is not a reason I dislike him, as I said. It's not like he went full Tyron Woodley and straight up just threw the race card at everyone. But that one slip was personally enough to push a massive part of the fan base away from him. And he didn't need that. However, I kind of think the Tyron Woodley comparison is kind of apt in a different way. Nobody wants a champion that has a boring style, and more importantly, the reason I'm going to get into next, for having, let's call them personality issues. Now, I thought for the penultimate round of this, I thought I'd address what I think is causing this man to be so broadly disliked more than anything else. And it is simply his personality. Or more specifically, it's the lack of polarizing personality he presents to a broader audience. Now, he doesn't really trash talk, or he hadn't until kind of recently, so you don't get people either hating him or loving him, or even getting to enjoy him talk a little shit and stir the pot when he does, and when he does try to, as he has done recently, it kind of comes out ironic and kind of whiny, such as these most recent comments he made about Leon and Colby's fight.
What did you think of that performance tonight by Leon Edwards and, of course, the challenger, Colby Covington?
Honestly, it was a joke to the division. That's what happens when you get a bum off the couch who's been off for 2 years, who didn't deserve the shot, and he goes out there and he didn't back up the talk. And for Leon Edwards, you should have backed up your talk too, because for what Colby said, he deserved to have his jaw broken. And I thought Leon should have went out there, he should have embarrassed him and put it on him, but he played that little game. So I think the UFC knows who's next. I need to get in there. I need to make the welterweight division great again.
Belal needs to decide to either be the nice guy or the villain. Now take Colby for example. I went from hating the guy to liking him to hating him again, but the most important aspect in all that is that it made me want to see him fight one way or the other. And as he succinctly put it himself in his press conference, I think it was with Kamaru Usman.
Oh, stop talking. Yeah, because I want people to hate me. That's a business model. No one cares about you. You're boring, man.
So rather than troll or insult other fighters or compliment them and just be kind of liked in that regard, Belal just fucking moans. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, nobody likes a whiny pussy. The problem with his approach is that he's just not polarizing. Nobody cares. The UFC is about what you can draw, and as Colby once said,
stop talking, man. Pay-per-view buys are going out the window when you talk, man.
The worst place you can be in this industry, in this sport, is having people not love you or not hate you. Indifference is literally the worst place you can be. And I think there are very few fighters in the roster that people give less of an actual fuck about. And that's kind of sad. Now, to compensate for this a little, rumor has it that Belal will often let Ali Abdulaziz act as a kind of mouthpiece of sorts for him, certainly on social media. Now, other fighters that allow this weaselly little fuck to stir shit can kind of get away with him doing it occasionally. You know, fighters such as Gaethje, Khabib, Islam, even Islam to an extent. Because for some of those guys, they don't have the time, they don't have the English skills, and they just want to keep themselves relevant. But they can kind of get away with it because they have sustainable personalities of their own. Letting that little Weasley prick talk for you, if it is true, when you have no redeeming quality to fall back on, is kind of like adding more and more layers of clothing while you're drowning in the ocean. In short, what I would do if I was Belal, and I don't know why I suddenly feel inclined to help this guy, if I am him, I'm just going to go full heel and just embrace the darkness. The fans will never like him. They're already disrespecting him. They're already memeing him at every turn. So if I'm him, I'm just going to go scorched earth. I'd make everyone want to see me get my fucking ass whooped.
All right, real quick.
Let's make some noise on December 14th. You guys can't wait for me to murder this clown. Thank you.
Watch how quickly champs want to fight you and how the UFC want to pick you when you can show you might be able to move the needle. The more you complain, the longer you're going to be passed over, the longer the memes are going to continue. Either embrace the hate or just stop talking. Complaining isn't going to move the needle, and you might actually get fans that love you being an antagonistic little prick. Now, this final one is going to sound like I've gone a little bit too far and that maybe I'm clutching. And I'll be honest,
I don't care.
I think this one might be just as valid as anything else I've said, and I'm going to explain why. Alright, it's nowhere near as valid as the rest of them, but it's just more personal to me. Now, I'm going to preface this with a little story of my own to give a little context before again I tear him a new arsehole and call him a whingy little manlet. Now, I was maybe 23, 24 years old at the time, and long story short, I ended up having a petty disagreement over the phone with another guy that I went to university with, and we agreed to meet somewhere and discuss it. Now, obviously, he was a lot smarter than I was, because despite this meeting taking place in broad daylight in one of the busiest towns in London, he basically had a mate ready to ambush me with a weapon while we discussed the matter, and my back happened to be turned. I know, I knew this guy for like 3 years, so it was Cobra level moves, but you know what? It is what it is. Anyway, we were talking things out when I kind of saw a shadow appear behind me, and I just so happened to turn the moment the guy was going to clock me in the back of the coconut, and instead the guy smashed me across the eye and down my face and pretty much like split my entire face right across. Now, I'm going to be honest, the thing that really stood out to me as the blood squirted across my face was that I felt like a massive pop, and I swear to God, I instantly thought my eyeballs burst and I'm blind. That's exactly what I thought. Now, I'm not the calmest of guys at the best of times, I'll be the first to admit, but there was a young woman right across the street that started screeching and ran across, like, you know, she was screaming her head off. And I remember instantly thinking at that time, like, I need to reassure her, like, that I'm fine, I don't want her to freak out. So I had to kind of pretend to be cool. Now, why are we talking about this, I wonder?
I don't know!
Well, let's have a little reminder, shall we, of how Belal, the fighter, reacted in his no contest fight with Leon Edwards a few years back.
Oh, another pull. Oh, it was a poke in the eye. Yeah. It wasn't a low blow as he landed the body kick.
Over there. Over there.
Okay, so
over there.
you got to see the replay because last time.
Oh, no.
Yes. Oh, my God, this looks like a bad one. Fuck. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Hey,
I got a bad feeling.
Okay,
This does not
what I need
sound
you to do is
good.
I need you to relax. Relax. We'll breathe and relax and let the doctor take a look, okay? Relax and breathe.
Okay, hold on.
Relax and breathe. The doctor needs to.
Now, having gone through a moment like that myself, that I would argue was way worse, my face was literally split in half. I think seeing him squeal like a turkey on Thanksgiving Sunday is what made me think, this guy just ain't about that life. He's a massive pussy. You know what? I'm going to try and reframe this. I do understand that it was probably a frightening and traumatic situation, but you are on TV in front of millions of people. Get your ass to the back and then cry and squeal all you want. To act like you're a hard nut and the toughest guy in the division, but then when you face a potentially scary moment and you react like that, is really soy to me. Again, people are going to think I'm an asshole for having this opinion, and I'll be honest, you either don't watch this channel or you don't understand that I'm an asshole for way worse reasons than this. Acting like he'd been shot in the face was just a really pussy way to react to me. Let's play it again in case we didn't understand the gravitas of it.
Oh, another pull. Oh, it was a poke in the eye.
Yeah.
It wasn't a low blow as he landed the body kick.
Over there. Over there.
Okay, so
over there.
You're going to see the replay because last time...
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, my God, this looks like a bad one.
Jesus Christ, you were fine, you utter wet wipe. Alright, so, in conclusion. Now, I swear to God, when I set out to make this video, I had every intention to be balanced and to talk about how fair or unfair the perception of him is. And I ended up kind of coming to a place I didn't expect. I have to actually agree that this man probably doesn't deserve the hate that he gets. And there have been numerous videos made on the subject, so there must be something to it. Yeah, he's got a boring fight style, but it's safe and it's effective. Yeah, he has a cringy nickname and a bland personality that doesn't polarize anyone into making you watch. Yeah, he's kind of made himself a meme through a lot of silly actions and slip-ups along the way. He's even been borderline racist at one point. I have to admit that I intended this to be a total hit piece, and while I definitely still don't like the guy, I have to admit I probably don't dislike him as much as when I started all this. And I wonder if this is going to be a theme of this series. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't need as much hate in my life. Now, Belal, he's not loved, but he's not hated by all. But even his defenders, when they do call out of the woodwork, they tend to resort to the, why do you hate him angle, as opposed to the, why should you like him angle. I do actually hope he gets the title fight, just so it's all over. Anyway, these were the 5 reasons I think that everyone hates Belal, or well, I guess are more kind of like indifferent to him. I genuinely believe I could have come up with 100 though. What did you think of the list? Did you agree or disagree with any of these? I'd love to know. Was I too harsh? Was I not harsh enough? Yeah, this took a turn I was not expecting, but you know. If there's anyone you want me to do for the Everybody Hates series, chuck your least favorite fighter in the comments. I know who I'm personally doing next, but you never know. If there's enough public calls for anyone in particular, I might just shift the focus. Have a great one, take care, and whoever you keep hating out there, keep doing it, I guess. Peace.